Hey everyone, how's it going? Juan Dhas here, and welcome back to this week's lesson video. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Rather than the traditional lesson where I kind of take a concept, break it down, and offer my thoughts on it, I wanted to talk a little bit about a checklist. And a checklist for incorporating chord voicings and give you guys something a little more tangible that you can take into your practice session and use as a method to kind of fine-tune and drill chord voicings to get them flowing a little more comfortably and be able to use them in any context, not just maybe one lick or one pattern or one song, to be able to take the voicing and move it anywhere and everywhere you would like it to. So I'm going to do a couple of things differently, and just a few disclaimers. One, this is going to involve some very honest self-reflection on your part, and anyone who tries this, please do take this into account. Don't be hard on yourselves with the answers to the questions. Don't go too dark. Don't be self-deprecating about it all. Ask yourself the honest question of, can I do this or not? And really be honest about the answer you give. If you say yes, that yes is conditional in that you have the foundation there to proceed to the next step. If you say no, well, we've all been there at one point or another. No matter what level another musician is at, there has been a point where we didn't know what a triad was, or what a scale is, or what a certain idea is. Just take it as your first step on this journey. Second, instead of the usual extended lesson I do on Patreon, where I do kind of an extended video talking about this, I'm going to add a PDF. It'll still say extended for the sake of continuity and for finding it easily, but this will serve as a visual companion for anyone who would like to download it, who would like to have this next to them in their practice session or up on their computer, or for someone who would, just not want to have the video up the entire time when they're practicing this. Okay, disclaimers out of the way, let's actually get into the meat and potatoes of what this checklist is. And I was thinking about this because I have students come in who either learn a chord from somewhere and it's maybe a wonderful idea, but they can't use it effectively, or they've maybe done some work on their drop voicings, but the voicings don't seem to make their way into their playing quite naturally. And as a result, when I ask them to try use these voicings, they can maybe access them a little bit, but it feels kind of stiff. It doesn't flow out of them, and there usually is an underlying reason for that. So what I'm going to do is walk you through this little checklist I have to kind of, and this is similar to something I would do with really any student, to see, okay, where are you at currently and what needs work? And this is a great way to kind of add a concrete nature to your practice session, maybe something that you can follow along with a little clearer. So I'm going to phrase these all as questions, and as I said, these are very self-reflective questions, so do keep that in mind. Step one, do I know the chord? Let's take a random voicing. Let's say, I don't know, let's go basic. Basic C major 7. Oop. I just got a volume pedal, and I'm still getting used to the fact that I have a volume pedal now, so I keep forgetting that that's what controls it now, not my volume knob. So we have a C major 7 chord, right? Now the question is, do I know this chord? And this can be split up into two subvariables. So variable 1, do I know this chord physically? Can I grip the shape? If you're still kind of searching for it, or you're not sure where your fingers should go, physically speaking, that implies that work needs to be done on this chord, right? So that's step one. Another aspect of step one is, do I know the notes of this chord, or the interval sets? I'd say they're kind of intertwined. So for example, for this chord, well, I should know C major 7 is C, E, G, B. And even when we get to more advanced chord types, let's say, I don't know, C minor major 7, I should know that C, E flat, G, B natural, right? Or if I say, for minor major 7, or let's say, you name it. Whatever chord type, I should be able to understand on that level what is in the chord, and I should be able to find it. So I can see, okay, I've got C, E, G, B, or rather, if I were to go in order, C, G, B, E, root, 5th, 7th, 3rd. This is foundational, and it's going to set up a lot of the more advanced stuff you look at through this checklist, like voice leading, or just really getting an understanding for your instrument. Some people ask how to develop fluidity. One of the core tenets of fluidity is understanding your instrument in as detailed a manner as possible. So step 1, do I know the chord? Step 2, can I play this chord in different keys? So let's just say for this exact voicing, I'm going to keep it to voicings, just a specific voicing type, right? Let's say if it were in G major, okay, can I play it in D major? What about B flat? Can I play it on different string sets? This is kind of another subvariable. B flat, same chord type, F major. Can I play it up here? That would be G flat, right? Can you move this chord about? So already this should challenge you a little bit. Step 3 is kind of an extension of this. If this chord can be inverted or inverts easily, can you play the inversions of said chord? So now I've got a whole video talking about drop 2s and I think drop 3s if I remember. I'll link it up here if you want to dive into that for more detail, right? That's not the focus of this video. I just want to get through this list so you can see the kind of little tests I do for myself so that you can apply it in your own session. And then bouncing off of that, can I play it from any chord tone, right? The same thing could be said of, okay, can I do this on a different string set, right? Let's say we're in G major, right? Do I have access to all of those voicings, right? And this is just a drop 2. This would lead us to another, well, I was going to say maybe can you do this in different drops, but that's kind of not pertinent to do I understand the voicing. Now how do the inversions thing kind of confirm your understanding of the chord? They confirm how you visualize the chord and whether you can manipulate moving notes about in a particularly linear fashion. As I said in another video, to come up with an inversion, we have C, G, B, E, logically everything would move up to the next variable, right? And sticking with the 4-way close pattern, so C would move to E, G would move to B, B to C, and E to G, right? And this applies for any chord type. This just happens to be for a C major 7. Then I would include, okay, do you know different variations of this chord, right? And I'm looking at chord from more of a macro lens, not just voicing, though this can certainly apply. Do you know this voicing has a 4-way close? Do you know this voicing has a drop 3? For those who want to go a little out there, there's a drop 2 and 4. Or if you want to play it like this. Actually, that brings up, is there a need for alternate fingerings, right? Now, this kind of sums up, I would say, 3 steps, and each one kind of has also their sub-steps and little questions you should be asking yourself. Now, up until this point, it sounds okay, it's quite dull, it's quite, let's say it is a bit of a drudgery to get through, but this is the foundational work that you need to apply for yourself to be able to build on top of that. Now comes the more interesting stuff. Can I use this voicing fluidly, right? Can I use this voicing fluidly in a context? This is kind of the last step, and there are kind of varying degrees of this. So I would say, okay, can I use this voicing, this drop 2 C major 7, in a standard, right? Right? Or if I can remember the tune. I'll be seeing you. Right? Or take any voicing. I would do a little test and see if I can play through a tune. And I would establish, is it costing me effort to get to this? Is it costing me effort to move this voicing? Now maybe for this voicing, it might not be a problem. But let's say when you get to rootless voicings, let's say I don't know, or I'm playing an inversion, let's say I'm trying to really internalize this major 7 voicing, right? If I play this voicing, I'm trying to train myself to be able to access that voicing in the moment. And if you can't do that, that's okay. You've now figured out what it is that you need to work on, and you've figured out, okay, visualization is my problem because I've got all the other steps covered. I can play this voicing. I know the notes in the voicing. I know how to tweak it. So then you've established that the problem is visualization. And then you would do your necessary exercises to incorporate that. The next step I would say is, can I get through this tune with this voicing, but move it rather than treat it as a stock voicing? Can I use it freely in the sense of voice leading, connecting ideas? Can I smoothly connect from one chord to another? You saw that a little bit here. Instead of jumping to maybe this voicing or familiar voicing, right? I'm moving to another voicing that I've worked on. Right? If I can remember the tune. And you see, instead of going back to this voicing because it's familiar, I'm also doing a check for myself. Can I get to another voicing and smoothly connect to it? You know? So, this was a really quick lesson and a really simple one. Again, for anyone who wants to follow along and kind of have a more visual representation of it, I'm going to be supplying a PDF on my Patreon, so please do go check that out if you would like. And there's some more content up there already for the past couple of lessons. I think we might be on extended lesson 4 right now. So this lesson is just kind of a quick primer of asking yourself some questions. Do I really know my instrument? Do I really know this voicing? Do I understand this chord in and of itself and its entirety, or am I just really relying on the fact that it is a shape? There's nothing wrong with relying on it as a shape. The guitar is inherently a shape-based instrument, and I don't want people to misunderstand my words otherwise. But we still have to know our instrument inside out. So I hope this lesson was really helpful. Please do let me know in the comments how this checklist worked out for you, if it's inspired some new things in your practice, or if it's exposed what you need to be working on. And I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.